All right, everybody, welcome back to the Games Done Quick Hotfix. I'm your host, Smooth Operative, and you are watching Time Capsule. We are on 2002 games tonight, and we are all set up for Wind Waker. So please welcome our next runner, EJ. Hi.
Hi, how's it going?
It's good. How are you, EJ? Welcome.
Good. So this is a run of the Wind Waker SD, which is what we call the GameCube version, as opposed to the HD version on the Wii U. And this is of no MSS, and I guess I'll explain a little bit more because we have a lot of intro cutscene time to get through. So
Sure,
I guess I'll just get started. Quick note: you may notice that the timer's starting a little bit later than just 0. That's because in our community we have allowed a intro skip, where we skip the lore part of the intro cutscene, which is what's on my shirt. Yeah, so we won't be watching that.
It's there in spirit. We got it.
Yeah, no gameplay is skipped. It's just a couple years back we decided to just do away with the lore part and we just get straight to the second cutscene part. So I am ready to start. I'll give a countdown from 5 on and then start on go in a couple seconds. So yeah, have my file name in there and then I'm ready to go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Cool.
Awesome. Good luck.
Thank you. So yeah, this is any % no MSS. No MSS meaning no manual super swim. That's the main difference between any % no MSS and any %. There are a couple of different restrictions as well on top of that, so there's no puppet cannon skip. Basically, there's a boss called Puppet Cannon at the end of the game, with a really complicated skip, but this foregoes that because this is supposed to be the main beginner category of the run. And on top of that, there also is no actor unloading allowed. I'm just not going to explain that. That's a rabbit hole that I do not want to get into, but yeah, that is the main crux of this category.
All right. Well, the stage is set.
Yeah, and I guess for those who are not familiar with Wind Waker, manual super swim is the pause trick at the start of the run that people do for like 5 minutes. It is very interesting to watch, to say the least. Not very interesting from a spectator perspective, but pretty interesting from like a runner perspective, and it makes the run a lot faster. Because that allows us to get the Wind Waker as soon as possible, which is the most broken item in the game, as you will see. But because we're not doing that, the category is pretty tame for the first like 30 so minutes of the run. Pretty much just going through the game kind of as intended, barring some like little speedrun strats that kind of save a few seconds here or there. But yeah, so pretty tame till then. And just also a quick warning, at the 30-minute mark, once we get the Wind Waker, we'll be doing a glitch called super swimming, which is, it kind of introduces a lot of flashing lights, so if you're photosensitive, at around the 30-minute mark until like the 55-minute mark, there will be on and off flashing lights. So I will give a warning before that kind of starts again, and then I'll let you know when it's done for the run.
For sure. Yeah, that'd be helpful. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. And also feel free to, I'm going to try my best to explain everything, but there's a lot going on, especially at different parts of the run, where sometimes, unfortunately, a lot of new things happen back to back to back that make it kind of hard to explain. So feel free to ask any questions, or if anyone in chat asks a question, feel free to also read it out to me.
Yeah, I'm keeping tabs on the chat, so again, if any of you do have questions, feel free to chime in.
Yeah, because we're not doing that manual super sim trick, again, we're going through the intro of the game, kind of as intended. So what that kind of entails is we're doing this island called Outset Island. We're doing all the introductory stuff, getting that all out of the way, going to the first dungeon, the Forsaken Fortress, beating that, and then that's kind of when we kind of open the can of worms and do a bunch of crazy stuff. And that's not to say that Outset isn't interesting, though. There are kind of few main things that kind of differentiate it from like a casual playthrough that aren't that big, but I'll point them out as we get there. But yeah, basically we're getting the hero's clothes, getting the sword, telescope, getting on the ship, etc., etc.
Oh yeah, because don't you have to like kind of set everything up before you go out on your voyage?
Yeah, we got to get all of our equipment before we are deemed worthy to go on this grand adventure.
Right on. Gotta pack the clothes and everything else. What's your favorite Link outfit?
I like the pajama outfit, which is the one we saw at the start. And fun fact, because
very cute.
Any % we do that MSS trick, you actually keep that outfit the entire run should you do that trick, because you never go talk to grandma. Which is kind of cool.
That is cool.
And I see a couple more questions just to get ahead of it because I kind of have some free time. I'm playing on Japanese, which you may have noticed. It saves a lot of time. There are some differences version-wise when it comes to like glitches, but really it does not really make a difference in this category, nor really in any main speedrun category, at least currently, with how optimizations are. But just in general, text is super slow in English. Like just alone in this category, that's still only like an hour long. You lose multiple minutes. It is quite bad.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. And Wii U version, I alluded to that a little bit at the beginning. That's referred to the HD version because that one's called HD, and we call this one SD just for, I don't know, normality's sake, because the opposite of HD. The world record is not significantly shorter. If I recall, it's like a 45-minute speedrun. In this game, our world record is like 51 minutes. They're very different speedruns. For those not familiar, there's a trick called item sliding, which I'm not going to go into that much because it's not in this game, but it is in that game, and that is the main difference that separates these two. So yeah, we just saw Petra get dropped into the forest, and now we gotta get a sword to save her, because we cannot get to that forest unless we have a sword. Developers made pretty darn sure of that.
They don't want you skipping too many steps.
Yeah, there's a set of trees that you need to get past the cut, but not only is there trees, there's an invisible wall as long as you don't have a sword, which is kind of annoying. So yeah, this is the first kind of speedrun strat that I'm going to try to go for. Well, also in general, this is the sword tutorial. I'm going to be doing specific stick inputs to make the combos go a little bit faster. And then at a certain point, basically it's just making me go through all of the different attacks to learn, because I'm a beginner trying to learn all this stuff. And there's going to be a section where it goes over the parry attack, and I'm going to try to hit the parry in a 1-frame window to kind of skip a little bit of the waiting sequence, but we'll see how that goes. And that'll be after the spin attacks. It's a 2-frame window, I believe.
And we're using the term beginner very loosely here.
Yes.
Because EJ is a professional.
So I missed it there, unfortunately. Basically, I stand there for a little bit, but had I hit the window, it would have immediately let me do the second parry, and it saves a little bit of time.
Yeah, no worries.
But yeah, I guess I am indeed not actually a beginner. I've been running this game for like 3 or 4 years at this point. It is my main game, so
Oh, nice.
I am okay at it, I guess.
So did you pick it up a little bit before COVID, or was it a kind of COVID game for you?
I think it was definitely before that. A little bit
okay.
before. I think it was the New Year's into that year.
Okay, right on.
I kind of got into, I was a spectator for quite a long time. And then eventually I was like, I want to do this myself as well. I kind of bounced around a couple games, trying to decide what I wanted to do. None of them really stuck. And then I thought, oh, what are the games do I like? I was like, oh, Wind Waker. And then I just tried Wind Waker, and it took a long time to learn because there are a couple tricks that are pretty darn hard to learn.
Oh gosh, I bet.
We'll see them. Well, actually, we'll see one of them. We won't see the other. Manual Super Sum is one of the big ones that are really annoying. The other one is zombie hovering, which if you are familiar with anything with Wind Waker speedrunning, I'm sure you know what zombie hovering is.
Now, is Wind Waker kind of a nostalgic game for you as well?
Yeah, it was my first Zelda game.
Oh, okay, nice.
So definitely up there. Oh, almost fell off there. I'm gonna grab a little rupee hidden over here real quick. Rupees are important for one purchase in the game. In this category. But yeah, this is my first Zelda game, and also my first speedrun, so definitely a little special in my heart. Love and hate relationship. Which is...
I feel like that's how it goes when you start learning a game that you love.
Yeah. So now I just have to kill these bokoblins to progress the story, and hopefully I get a little combo. Did not get it, unfortunately, but it's fine. I get some extra rupees, because a little annoying some rupees. Yeah, had I have done that combo correctly, I would have hit them with that spin attack, and it would have ended it really quickly. And that's like the second big thing, as it, like alongside the Orca fight, that kind of differentiates this from like a casual playthrough. But yeah, it's okay. Only loses like a couple seconds. Not a big deal.
Yeah, no worries at all.
Yeah, you might have saw that I slashed some grass there for rupees. It's actually a pretty big RNG moment in this run. It doesn't actually lose a lot of time if you don't get a lot, but like, you can get really lucky, and it saves a little bit of time in the next couple seconds. So now we are done with this section, and pretty much now, well, we're about to see what happens that lets us go on our adventure, but we pretty much almost have everything we need to go, which is pretty cool. Unfortunately, this game has a lot of cutscenes. Some we can skip, which we'll see later. But some of these early ones, especially since we don't have the Wind Waker yet, there's really nothing we can do.
So you just have to kind of mash through the cutscenes as fast as you can.
Yeah. In this game, text smashing does matter. It does go faster. A little bit. It's not too crazy. You know, it's like we're talking about frames here, so it's not.
Right. Yeah. A little forgiving.
Yeah. It's just at the beginning here because we're doing a lot of the intro stuff. There just is a lot of text. But luckily on Japanese, because this cutscene here that we're watching is like over a minute slower on its own in English, which is
that's wild,
ridiculous. The text just moves so much slower. It is crazy. And random fun fact that doesn't really matter, but some games file name matters. This game it doesn't. No matter what version you're playing, the game will always display the file name in one frame, the entire name in the text box. So you can name yourself anything you want and not lose any time. Which is pretty cool.
I never really thought about that for other speedruns, you know. If you have a long name, it's, I guess, gonna take longer to go through the dialogue normally, so yeah. That is something to consider.
Yeah. Definitely still in the order of frames, but some people probably do care about that. Me, not so much.
Do you always name your file EJ just because it's easy?
Yeah, I've tried the classic Japanese character that looks like the smiley face, but I've always come crawling back to EJ.
Gotta stay true to yourself.
Yeah, this is one of the longer text boxes in the game. But once we do this, I'll get the shield, and then we can head off to Forsaken Fortress.
Now, I'm trying to remember, do you actually have to build a boat, too?
No.
Okay.
However, we do have to complete some story elements in order to have it spawn on the overworld, which I will explain a little bit.
I think that's about as far as I got, is building the boat.
It's pretty
early getting to the boat. Yeah, it's very early. I was dipping my toes in the water with this game.
Yeah. So I'm just going to get the shield, and regarding that question in chat about the sync to the music, that is a pretty good point. Regarding this cutscene that we just saw, actually, I wasn't really thinking about it. I was kind of autopiloting, but those first couple text boxes actually progress on their own, and your inputs don't matter. So that solves that music issue. Regarding other cutscenes, I've never really thought about it before. I don't think other ones really pay attention to the syncing as much, or choreograph around it so much.
I assume it's been timed probably before, though.
Yeah, the next cutscene we're about to watch actually also has some time stuff because the first couple text boxes are just automatic.
Oh no, did we make Grandma cry?
Unfortunately. And then unfortunately also in this category, we never give her the fairy. Bonk.
Aww.
Whoops.
Sorry, Granny.
I think 100% and glitchless are the only other categories that actually save Grandma. And 100%, I think theoretically could save time if you skipped, but it's hard.
Right. So this is kind of your preferred category, I'm guessing.
I came up learning any percent. It's a lot more toxic of a run to run, but it has a soft spot. And I ran a pretty special route of it when I came up that I liked. And because I kind of I guess I'm alluding to something later, but there's a thing called barrier skip in this game. And I kind of came into the community as that was found, so that was a pretty unique experience. But because of that, any percent before barrier skip did this, any percent after does not, so I never really had any true attachment to this outset segment of the game in speedrunning. So when this is actually a relatively newer category in the grand scheme of the history of the run, or this game. This category hasn't existed for that long. So when it first came out and we did it for fun and we did community races, I was kind of bored of the start. But as I've gotten better at it, I've come to appreciate it more, because while it is vanilla gameplay for the most part, you'd be surprised how much time you can squeeze out of it if like you're really optimal, and it's really cool to watch.
For sure, yeah, and like pathing and everything else matters too, so I imagine you just get better and better as you continue.
Yeah, we'll see a pretty good example of movement being important in maybe like 3 minutes.
Right on.
So this is what we call Ropes 1. Basically, there's these rope mini games that this character Nico makes us go through to get certain items. There are 2 of them in the game, and this is the first one, so we just call it Ropes 1, and we'll call the other one Surprise Ropes 2. And you'll know it when we get there. It's pretty obvious.
Appropriate.
So pretty much just have to kind of maneuver across these platforms and ropes. Not too hard. Falling here is kind of a meme in our community when it comes to races, because you should never fall here, ever. But if you do, people kind of kid with you.
It's like the fall of shame, I guess.
Yeah, you have to like do the climb of shame back up the ladder. Also, and the NPC also yells at you too and makes fun of you for falling.
Aww.
So
that is actually funny. It's this NPC here.
Yeah. Oh, I let go of neutral. Or I went to neutral. Everything's okay. Yeah, in this game, if you go to neutral on the stick before you do a jump, you'll just ledge grab like that if the ledge is grabbable. So I didn't lose any time there, or like significant time, but that kind of scared me because I didn't realize I went to neutral. Yeah, that was all. And we're here to get the spoils bag. Spoils bag is not important for the run at all. And honestly, it could be a detriment because it lets the enemies drop spoils, which have a long text box when you first grab them, so you try to avoid those. However, because again, kind of like a glitchless run through of the first 30 minutes, we have to get this to progress. So unfortunately, we gotta get the dang bag.
Ooh, I like the bag. It's cute.
Quite spooky. You may be noticing I'm like saving and quitting, or not quitting, but like resetting. That's called save warping. Basically, at certain points in the game decides to like put you at a specific spot when you load your save file after a save, and sometimes it's faster to do that instead of walking back.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I could have like walked outside, but instead I just walked back outside. So here is what I was talking about earlier. This is very important that I climbed up here fast, went through that text fast, and I go through all the remaining text really fast. There's a thing called early light cycle. So basically, you're about to see right now in this cutscene, there are spotlights at this spooky dungeon, and I'm at like this is a cutscene, but this is in game right now. So like the cycle that those lights are on are the cycle, and it'll be that same cycle when this cutscene ends. And there are some conveniently placed red rupees that I will want to grab. You barely got a peek of it at the bottom of the screen right there where those lights are pointing. And I want to grab them conveniently at a good time when the lights aren't there. And if I mash fast enough, I can make it a really early cycle that's kind of tight. And if not, I have to wait. And worst case scenario, if I get caught by the lights, I get sent to jail. And hopefully that doesn't happen. So I am mashing my little heart out so that I can get there at a decent time. And if I make any error in my movement, I'm just going to bail on early light cycle and just do the normal light cycle. Because again, it doesn't really lose that much time. But it's not too hard once you get used to it. So this is Forsaken Fortress 1. I'm going to refer to that as FF1 from now on. And also we come back here again. And those are referred to as different numbers as well. So later we'll come to FF2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's like your way of keeping track.
Yeah, it's just like even in casual gameplay, you visit this place 3 times in like major story points. So we just as a community dubbed them like FF1, FF2, FF3 to differentiate them.
Right on, that makes sense.
So this is the first dungeon, quote unquote, of the game. So we're doing it vanilla, so it's kind of like a stealth section where I can't get caught. I don't have a sword. Pretty much going through it as intended. There is one little exploit we're going to do that we'll see when we get there. But yeah, first and foremost, we are going to get those rupees. And also hit a trigger right here, which is important for later. You can skip this, but skipping this would be very bad. And that means this cutscene right here. We do want, it just sets a trigger for later that is very important. So now I'm going to go through these text boxes, hopefully do a nice turn up these stairs, and get the rupees. I think I have to bail. I'm gonna bail, just to be safe. I guess my mashing was not that good, but it's fine.
I see what you mean, though. Like, it's a bit tricky to time, I guess.
Yeah, you can stand in the lights a little bit, but don't want to risk it. I was kind of scared of doing it there. I was also gonna go for a window jump there, but I think I messed up the lineup, so I'm just gonna grab it instead. Parkour.
So once you get your sword back, I guess these kind of sections aren't as apparent, or they don't show up quite as much, these stealth sections?
This is pretty much the only one in the game at the start right here. Yeah, you're never put in this situation ever again. And I'm coming up here real quick to kill this Bokoblin because his spotlight would stop me later on in the dungeon if I didn't. So, gotta kill him, unfortunately. Luckily, there's a stick here I can use. And now I'm gonna go right back to where I came from, because that's the fastest way to the end. In a second here, we're to come across the enemies called Moblins, which have lanterns, and those guys can catch me and throw me in jail also, in addition to the spotlights. But there's some conveniently placed barrels that let me hide from them, and that's intended so that when you're in the barrel, you can't get caught. However, they added a little kind of a beginner-friendly feature where for a brief period outside of the barrel, you don't get caught. So we can exploit that to run past them. Also, I sidled into the door there, hit the loading zone. Little funny thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that is kind of a funny little thing.
So yeah, I'm gonna grab this. I get my little invulnerability, and now I can just run past them. I can't get that close to them still. Okay, this is kind of scary. Ooh. So yeah, it's kind of RNG when they turn around, but luckily I can hide behind that little wall there. If that wall wasn't there, it would be a lot worse. And there's just one more of those guys I have to get past, and we'll see. It'll be pretty apparent right now that I'm just running past them. This guy can also have some RNG, so hopefully he's not too bad. Okay, good. And now I can just run past them. Again, an intended feature, but they kind of didn't realize how broken they made it. So now we're pretty much done. Just gotta sidle to the end. And in this game, I'm not just holding the direction, I'm tapping the direction, because for whatever reason, if you tap the direction, you go ever so slightly faster. That's pretty cool. And right around this corner, we're about to get my sword again, and then we'll be done with the dungeon. Yeah, that's correct. The world record is a 111 something by Chaotic Ace, who is really, really, really good at this game, and has been playing this game for a lot longer than I have.
Yeah, I had to double check this. It looks like the seconds are 39, so there you go, chat.
He got that somewhat recently. Definitely less than a month or two ago.
Oh yeah, this was a recent submission. So I guess this game is pretty busy. This board is honestly big.
It's big. It's not the most active 3D Zelda game, that's for sure. But definitely some diehards that run the game. But yeah.
Gotta respect the hustle.
Yeah, so we finished that. This is actually the cutscene that spawns the boat. So you have to watch this cutscene to beat the game, in fact, because there's a lot of complicated flags and stuff in the background of the code of the game. But if you don't have the boat, which is the King of Red Lions, which I'll shorten as Coral from now on, we will crash later on. So there is a way around it, but that's beyond the scope of this run in commentary. And will
totally
probably never be done by a human. Well, maybe that's bold to say. You never know. But
I mean, yeah, I guess time will tell.
yeah, for humans, you gotta spawn the boat. Very important. And this kind of leads. So now we're almost at the point where we're gonna be able to do actual glitches. And it's gonna get really, really crazy. Like back to back to back. Like new things are gonna pop up. It's gonna be hard to explain. So I'm gonna jump a little ahead. Basically, now that we are about to get the Wind Waker, the goal after that is get all the items we need to beat the game, and then go to the end of the game. So the first one after Wind Waker is we want bombs. And bombs we get from the pirate ship from the Ropes 2 minigame, which is the second iteration of the Ropes 1 minigame we played recently. And vanilla, you gotta do a bunch of stuff, or casually you have to do a bunch of stuff to spawn the boat in that state. However, for some reason, when you beat this dungeon for the first time, you're put on a special layer of the overworld in which the boat is at the starting island and we can enter it. And because we got the first minigame out of the way and also got that cutscene at the start of FF1, it's in the bomb state. We can just get the bombs. However, I cannot reload the overworld at any point between now and then, or else that boat is gone forever. Because I will be off that special layer. That sounds scary. It is kind of scary, but it shouldn't really become a problem. And even if it does, in a worst case scenario, there is a backup to force spawn the ship that we see in 80%. Okay. But it's just not faster in this category.
But if you lose the boat, I guess it's kind of game over.
If I what? Sorry?
If you lose the boat and like don't get it back, it's kind of game over.
So this is a little bit of a spoiler. We will use the boat a little bit right now, but we won't be using the boat much at all.
Oh, okay.
And we're getting a little close to the photosensitive section of the game. I would say another like 4-ish minutes, and that will persist for about like 25-ish minutes. So now you can't really understand what the NPC is saying, but he's telling me to buy the sail so we can go to the next island, which is where the Wind Waker is. So that's what I was getting the rubies for, and I'm gonna get a couple more to top myself off because I need 80, and then once I get the sail, I will be leaving immediately. So this cutscene's just about done, and now I'm just gonna get the sail and dip. And this is where I'm gonna get ahead of myself a little bit again. So once I get the Wind Waker, the main glitch I'll be using is called storage. Very complicated trick in a lot of applications that we're going to see back to back to back to back. Basically, long story short, this game has a single bit in the game that's set to 0 or 1, depending on if you're in a cutscene state or not. And using storage, you can trick the game into being the opposite one when you're in a cutscene, so you can have gameplay movement during a cutscene. I skipped a ruby in accident. Let me go back here. But I got lucky too with the RNG there. So yeah, basically we're going to trick the game's cutscene states and get some pretty interesting event interactions, one of those being camera lock, which lets us do super swimming. I mean, I'll explain that a little bit later, but now I got the thing, the sail, equip that, come back to the boat, and we're going to head off. Again, storage a little, I think explaining it is a little out of the depth of this. Also, I'm probably not doing it justice when I explain it that well, so I will skip that for now. But the main things we'll see, these will sound like words for now, but we'll use text storage, double storage, chest storage, cancel cutscenes with it. It is very broken, and we'll see that very soon.
It comes in handy.
Yeah. So yeah, I have the sail rules on over here. And you notice I'm doing jumps. That's because when you first pull out the sail, you get a little boost, and then it dies off immediately, and you go to your like settling speed. But if you just chain them over and over, you can keep that little boost over and over and over again, and it goes a little bit faster. And you can either pump or jump. I usually opt to pump because I'm not that very good at sail jumping. Yeah, you can kind of notice if you look a little close at the waves the boat is making, they kind of stutter a little bit, or like jump a little bit. And that's me getting ever so slightly.
Oh yeah, it's very subtle.
Undoing this game actually just broke the sub 6 barrier, which is really cool.
Nice, yeah.
It was done by mini like a month or two ago.
Yeah, I mean 6 hours though is a behemoth of a run. I'm not sure. Yeah, I could handle it.
I have never run it, and I don't know if I will. It's a little crazy.
That's totally fair.
Okay, this is the Wind Waker cutscene in which we get the Wind Waker. And now the game is about to break open. I'm about to get storage, text storage, double storage, and chest storage for the first time all at once. A lot of words. It's hard to explain them all. Basically, I can store text and that has properties. I can store a chest that has properties. I'm gonna kind of forego explaining storage and text storage and more explain chest storage, because that's you can see the effects of that very visually. But basically what I'm going to do after getting the Wind Waker here is I'm going to get storage, store Coral's text, Get storage again to get double storage, so I can have storage while super swimming, and then I'm gonna go store a chest, and then I'm gonna go to the ship and climb it, because chest storage changes your collision. And that's a lot of words, so I'm just gonna let the gameplay do its magic, I guess. And you can notice the game's a little fuzzy here. That's just something that happens. I don't know why. With cutscene, the fidelity drops a little bit. But bam. Photosensitive warning starting now. And I'll stay when it's over. And I'm gonna equip it. Oops. I'm gonna do a Wind Waker dive, which is how we get storage. Did not get storage there. Kind of hard to notice when I get it. So there I got it. If you caught, it looked a little weird. Store his text. You notice I talked to him and nothing happened. Now I have text to all gameplay. Whoops. Okay, I ate his text, so I have to redo it. A little annoying, but everything is okay so far. Now I have storage with text up, and when I close the text, I get storage back. Now I have storage while super swimming, and now flashing screen, I'm gaining speed every single frame. Basically, I'm charging infinite negative speed. That's what super swimming is. And then now I have enough. I'm now going to shoot towards a random chest that is convenient to get.
Oh, this is bizarre.
And now I still have storage. Whoops. And now I'm going to store this chest. Interesting property of this chest, storing it makes it go black. It'll come back in a second. Don't worry. Once I leave this quadrant, I will get it back. So now I have chest storage. That affects your collision, so you can get air refills off of things you normally shouldn't, because you have finite air in this game. And also you can climb up things you shouldn't. So we'll see that first one right now. I'm going to hit this pillar real quick. I missed it, but it's fine. I can just go into it, hopefully. There you go. I got an air refill. You see my air meter went back up. And now I have enough speed. I am now going to head towards my destination, which is all the way across the map. But because I'm going so fast, I will get there in a jiffy. Oh my god, that is an island I do not want to hit.
So is there a map? How do you know where you're going?
So you can see I can pull up a map to give myself a general check of where I'm going. However, eventually when you run this game for long enough, you just know.
Okay.
So now, pirate ship I mentioned is here. And luckily because we have chest storage, it gives us a refill. And also because we have chest storage, I can just go on the side. Go on the side, I said. Am I in the wrong corner? No, here we go. This is kind of annoying. There you go. I can just walk up the side. And then, bam. I am in the area for bombs.
Wow, very impressive. That was wild to behold.
Thank you. And yeah, that's the thing I mentioned, where if I voided out at any point and reloaded the overworld, that ship is gone. So that scary part is done, thankfully.
Nice.
And now this is Ropes 2, a slightly harder version of Ropes 1. Although, ironically, we like to say that Ropes 2 is easier, but that's only because we do it more often in speedruns. But it is harder. And in that chest we have bombs. And after this we'll get the leaf. Very, very broken items. So just gonna do a little bit of a setup to do this first jump here. I'm gonna wait. I messed up a little bit. It's fine. I missed the swing cycle there, but I would rather miss the swing cycle than miss the jump. Personally. And now I'm gonna time A press to get a little bit of a regrab there to gain momentum, so I don't have to do an extra swing. I'm gonna do it one more time here. So you'll notice I do a little stutter when I let go. Regrab, and then I get some speed, and then I go. Yeah, so this is the first item. We'll be getting 2 more items before we go to the end of the game. And we're going to get the leaf now. That is at the what is that place called? Forest Haven. However, that island has a cutscene around it, and if we swim into it with that locked camera, that special camera you see when I do storage, and get camera lock, I will soft lock. So I'm gonna have to get double storage to eat that cutscene while swimming, and we'll see it. It's a little weird, but I think it'll visually make sense, because usually when you come to these big main islands of the game, it just has a cutscene to show you like a cinematic shot of the whole thing. Those pesky little things, but we can skip it.
I feel like it would be hard to remember all of this.
Yeah, I would say so, but when you do it enough.
I guess like how much storage you have and like where you can and cannot go. Like, was it challenging to put all of that together?
I don't think so. I think it's just more complicated when you don't really know what's happening, and once you learn it, it's pretty simple. As opposed to like, I don't know if you're familiar with like Skyward Sword speedrunning. Learning that is experience, which I've done recently. Very confusing. I think this is pretty tame compared to that. So I'm trying to get double storage again.
Okay.
There you go. So now, because I have double storage, I can swim into that cutscene without soft locking. And you'll notice when I get to the island, I'm going to like kind of zip to some seemingly random position, but that's just me like warping to the start of the cutscene location. But because I have storage, it cancels it. So you'll see that in a second. So now I'm going to head towards Forest Haven, which is somewhere over here. There it is. Those two little islands. Well, they're not little, they're pretty big. But they were little silhouettes, but now they're huge. And now I've eaten the cutscene, I warped to a starting position, and now I can just go back to what I was doing. And now I need to get inside, but there's some items I need usually to get inside. However, I'm just going to use our pal Beetle right here. So jump on him, get a Wind Waker dive. If I can initiate it. One day. There you go. Cancel it, and now I'm underwater. You click into the island. And now in this game, similar to like a lot of Nintendo games, I guess, well, I'm not really familiar with a lot of them, but like some Mario and some Zelda games, when there's a body of water above you, you just snap to it. So there's a body of water up here I want to get to, I'll just go under it and I'll snap up to it. Very convenient.
Oh yeah, that is.
And now I'm going to damage down, because now I'm getting ready to do a zombie hover. Basically, when you die in this game, you have like a 10-frame window where you can do an action. You can do a jump attack, and in this game it cancels the jump attack frame 1 when you die, because it realizes you're dead, but you gain enough height where you can chain them over and over and over again before dying. So you can get infinite height, and we'll see that in a second. But first, there's another trick called Deku Tree Cutscene Skip. So normally, you help the Deku Tree out here, and this cutscene you watch, and then bam, you get the leaf. However, that cutscene's long and annoying. So instead, I'm gonna do some shenanigans to skip it entirely. And it saves like a minute, but it could be quite difficult. So it's gonna look really weird. Basically, I'm using storage to skip it. I'm gonna start the fight with the shoes with storage to put them in a weird state, where I can push them out of bounds to kill them, quote unquote. And when you kill them all, the cutscene starts. So I'm gonna save all but one, push them out in a certain way so that I get crushed by the Deku Tree's chin at a specific time to get crushed as the cutscene starts, and then it'll cancel. Again, a lot of random words I just said, but I'll just do it, and then surely it'll all make sense.
Yes.
I'm having trouble getting storage. Wow. Okay, so now I'm at the walk there because I have this annoying text that I can't ignore. Wow. There you go. So again, it looks like I'm just grabbing that ledge over and over again, but I promise I am doing something. So now I have storage again. These shoes are in a weird state. I can't hurt them, they can't hurt me, but I can push them out of bounds. Eventually, they will hit the void plane and despawn, and that counts as them being defeated. So I use that to time the defeat of the last one, and that's the main kind of thing that makes this trick work, is a consistent way to decide when the last shoe dies. And there's a party over here. A lot of them.
This is wild.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a little bit safe. Actually, I want the right one, actually. Okay, so now I have the last one. I'm going to line up on that. So I should get crushed at the right time, hopefully. We're good. I'm standing up in the water. I skipped the cutscene. basically, there's supposed to be like a long cutscene, but because I avoided when it happened, we're all good. The leaf is up there now, and now I'm gonna do a zombie hover. Hopefully I don't fail it. I'll be a little safe on the positioning. So I am mashing really fast to make it happen. Well, somewhat fast. I think my average is about like 12, 13 times a second, but you can go as fast as 15. And I'm just infinitely gaining height. You may be wondering why I'm doing this. You can see that little pole in the background, the top left. That is a grapple hook pole that is required to normally get to the leaf, and usually that's no problem because this is the second area of the game, like second main area after like all the intro. But because I skipped that, I do not have the grapple hook, so I have to do this to get the leaf. And I will die at the end, but it's okay. I don't need to be here any longer after this. And next part, we get the quiver, and we're going to see a pretty insane development that's happened pretty recently, and also a new setup that was found like 2 days ago that I learned yesterday. And hopefully it goes well. So I got the lead. That's pretty cool. This guy's gonna talk to me real quick. So I'm out of here. I don't need to be here anymore. I could death warp here. I chose to save warp. It's a little bit faster to save warp. I could have let myself die and then death warp, but whatever you do. So now I'm gonna do a crazy thing. We used to get chest storage and then go to the quiver spot and clip in and get the quiver. However, we have found a way to skip the chest storage entirely with a consistent setup, which is kind of crazy. Hopefully it goes well. I learned this setup yesterday. Pretty confident, but you never know, I guess. A little inconsistent. Sometimes based on reloading times. Okay. I think I did the position setup correctly. And I hope I can time this properly. I'm going to pay attention to the audio for a bit. Now, it'll be pretty obvious what I'm doing. So I did a setup for a specific angle and position, and hopefully I will go right into the loading zone before it loads the vines. Oh, thank God. And then I just clipped in before. So basically the island was partially loaded. Usually there's some vines there. And you usually need chest storage, like clip inside the wall. But instead you can just do that. And historically, we used to, that setup wasn't really like a, I guess, approach that people thought of consistently doing like spinning super swim charging. Because it was just not something people thought of. And before we kind of just YOLO that, and it would be like a last-ditch effort to like save a dead run. But now we have a consistent way to do that every time. It's a little weird because unfortunately it kind of depends on like your specific Wii if it works or not sometimes, because you want the island to be partially loaded, not fully loaded, and at the same time not loaded at all. And if your Wii loads faster or slower, there can be some inconsistencies with that. Kind of unfortunate, but it's still a really cool trick. I pulled the wrong item.
Wind Waker speedruns are like on another level. This is very interesting.
Yeah, this is a very hard run at times. There you go. I was getting storage off of that. Usually we do Wind Waker dives and like off of ledges, but sometimes you gotta get a little creative with your terrain. But yeah, again, it may look daunting, but I highly recommend people giving it a shot if you're interested. We also have bug limit or glitchless categories if you're not a fan of glitches. They're a little bit longer, but yeah, this is definitely the most beginner-friendly glitched category. And it may look daunting, but also there are beginner-friendlier routes that you can give a shot. To kind of skip the more complicated tricks. Loses a little bit of time, not too much.
Nice, yeah, I do see a couple of guides here on the speedrun.com board, so if anyone's interested, yeah, check it out.
I think the best place to go is probably the Discord, which is also linked on the speedrun.com. That's where a lot of the resources are fully up to date. And we also have a practice ROM that was recently made, pretty cool.
Oh, cool, yeah.
So now we're going to the end of the game. We got everything I needed, so I'm just getting a chest here for chest storage to climb up stuff again. This is just the most convenient one to get to. No particular reason other than that. Now another chest for it to become dark for a little bit. So blanked a little bit on what the inputs were for a second. But we are A-okay. So now I'm going to charge a little bit more. Hopefully not hit the island, because that could be kind of annoying. Yeah, the great... I guess I didn't really explain, because you can't really tell, or maybe you didn't really tell, but that fairy gave me the quiver. Oh, I splooshed, that sucks. It's fine. That fairy gave me the quiver, which is not the bow. So I still don't have the bow. I do have a quiver, though. However, I'm going to get an item later that also isn't the bow, but it's an arrow of some sort, if you can guess which one it is. And the combination of a quiver and arrows pretty much just gives you the bow. So we'll be using that exploit to basically get the bow without actually having to get the bow. Because in this game, the bow is in the 3rd dungeon of the game, and it's quite lengthy to get to that point. So yeah, I got chest storage, got the quiver, the bow, or not the bow, the quiver, the leaf, bombs, and Wind Waker. I'm getting the heck out of here. And this is Forsaken Fortress 2. This is the second interest, so this is the same dungeon as the start of the game. There's a rock here that's kind of annoying. Forsaken Fortress 1 is on its own special map, and FF2, or Forsaken Fortress 2, is on the overworld, so I can just come straight here. And because I have chest storage, I can clip there. And more egregiously, because I have chest storage, I can just do the following that you're about to see, where I just walk up all the walls and go straight to the end. Don't have to do anything. And this is because when you store a chest in this game, when you see Link do like the animation of climbing into the chest, the game changes its collision to be able to do that actually. And if you store the chest, that change in collision is never undone. So you can just abuse that. And it persists until you either open another chest or do some sort of loading zone. So yeah. Easy peasy.
Yeah, it looked very cool as well.
So yeah, this is the end of Forsaken Fortress 2. And conveniently, beating Forsaken Fortress 2 puts you in Hyrule, which is very close to the end of the game. But basically, we're just trying to get to Hyrule as fast as we can. And another fun fact, this game has things called animation sets, which is basically a set of animations used for cutscenes that is split up between 1 and 2, and basically early game and late game cutscenes. And this is the cutscene that switches the animation set. And because end game cutscenes and like the very last cutscene is animation set 2, this cutscene is required to beat the game. Like hard required. Even if you skip it, there is no way to beat the game. And you can skip it, but yeah, gotta beat it. And funny, you're supposed to have the Master Sword here. She's like, how do you have that? But I don't have it, so she's just looking at a random sword. Yeah, after this, there'll be a Helmroth boss fight, which is the big bird that we saw earlier in multiple cutscenes. However, if you're familiar with the game, we don't have the item to beat the bird, so we gotta take care of that in some other way. And also, there's kind of a fun strat we can do here that definitely won't save me any time, but looks really cool. And I'm gonna try to go for it. We'll see though. Basically, there's a big spiral we have to walk up, but you can do a pretty cool super swim up it. If you're able to get storage on a pretty hard spot. So I'm gonna go for the storage. If I don't get it, I don't get it. But if I do get it, I'll try to show off the swim. Pretty cool. And if I fail it, I'm just gonna walk up because it's pretty hard. I practiced it a little bit for fun, but I'm not too married to the idea of being stuck here for like multiple minutes doing something I don't have to do.
That's fair.
So honestly, I think this runs on I can't see, like I don't know what my pace is right now, but I feel like it's pretty good. My PB doesn't have that quiver swim setup strat implemented yet, so
oh wow,
definitely
okay.
saved a lot of time there. You know, because of that, you know, it's fine. I'll go for it. I was just say because of that, I won't go for it because like maybe you can PB, but I'll go for it. Of course, I got it. God. Okay.
There we go.
I'm going for it, I guess. Against my own wishes.
Put on a show, Link.
Hopefully, I do not sploosh here. Of course I did. This game is awesome. I'm losing some time here, unfortunately, but it's fun. Why not? Oh my god. Okay. Oh man. Okay, I failed it. It's fine. I'm just not gonna go for it again.
No, but it looked really, really cool, actually.
Basically, I'm just trying to like spin up the thing, but I moved my stick a little bit too much.
Listen, that was the preview, y'all. If you want to see more, you're gonna have to follow EJ125 here on Twitch.
Exactly. But now let's do the lame walk up. You'll see why it's not as cool. I just gotta walk up. Unfortunately, I lost a lot of time there. There's an RNG point at the end that I hope, in a deep, dark corner of my heart, hope goes poorly, so that even though I did this stupid mistake, I wouldn't PB anyways. Maybe I still could. I don't know.
Is it one of those things where it's like you don't want any mistakes in your PB if you can help it?
No, I think it's because if I were to get the good RNG at the end, had I not done this, maybe I could have PB'd.
I see. You can't think like that, though.
Yeah.
You gotta try.
So now I'm up here. There's spikes in the way, but that's not gonna stop me. Taking some damage. I'll explain the line in a second. But first, I'm going to go in here. Do a weird camera setup so that I can grab the ledge in a certain way, clip in the ground, go under here, and then skip the boss fight. The reason why I got damage down because when you're at beeping heart health, you get put in a state called critical health, which for some reason very, very, very slightly changes your collision, and it makes it easy to clip into that little corner.
It was a cool skip, though.
Yeah, that is very nice. There are multiple ways to do that skip. That is the fastest way here. Okay, so we beat FF2, and beating FF2 sent us to Hyrule, and usually that's like, I guess, what you'd call the halfway point of the game in a casual sense, because there is a giant barrier of very, very historical significance that stood in the way for many years. However, spoiler alert, you can skip it. So we are near the end of the game, but because we can do barrier skip, we can go to the end of the game when not intended. We will see that in maybe 5 minutes. A couple cutscenes here, unfortunately. And you may notice I have Master Sword now. I never got it. You're supposed to get it in Hyrule. However, this cutscene is supposed to happen way after the first time you get the Master Sword. So the game just gives it to you because it thinks you're supposed to have it. So that's kind of cool. I now have the Master Sword. Which is nice because it does, I think, double damage. I think that's right. And had you have not had a shield, it'll also give you the hero's shield. It's pretty cool. So yeah, this is the part where, if it was in English, you would know that this is Zelda. Crazy reveal. Yeah, this is the same exact Ganondorf. This is, we skipped it because of intro skip allowed for this game, but the introduction cutscene goes over like the lore of like Ganondorf coming back after losing an Ocarina of Time.
Oh, weird. So it does like clarify. That's funny.
Yeah. This is a direct sequel to Ocarina of Time.
I remember that boss being a little confusing in Ocarina of Time when you meet Ganondorf.
Oh yeah, I haven't done that one in like forever, but I think I know
yeah. It's like a bunch of pictures or something.
Oh yeah, the Forest Temple, like the Phantom Ganon Forest Temple.
Yeah, that's the one.
I think like one of them looks like slightly different than the other. I don't know. I've not done that in quite some time.
Yeah.
So we escaped, and now we're gonna go down to Hyrule through this portal that isn't supposed to be here, but is supposed to be in this cutscene. So also, the dragon looked like he was sitting on nothing. There's supposed to be a giant tower spawned here. We never spawned it, so he was just sitting on nothing. And he's out of here. Okay, so yeah, now we're going down to Hyrule. Just a little bit more of cutscene, then we get back into gameplay. And the very first thing we're doing is the fabled barrier skip, so that'll be very cool. There are multiple setups to do. Wait, what was that? Sorry?
I was gonna ask you, EJ, you know, last run we touched a little bit on like hand health and stuff. Like, how are you when you have to mash this all the time? Like, do you do hand stretches, or how do you handle it?
So, I think personally for me, zombie hovering is not really that taxing on my arms or hands. It was when I was learning, but once I like formed my technique, you really don't need to go as fast as it seems.
Okay.
So that's pretty chill. There is another trick in this game. So manual super swim, which I alluded to, is what is banned here. There is an unbuffered version that can really mess with your hand health, and I've like had to wear a brace on my wrist because of it.
Oh wow.
That one is dangerous to do without any self-control. But like mashing and zombie hovering and like normal manual super swim, people definitely can have hand health concerns, but I think as long as you like are mindful of how hard you go at it when you start, you should hopefully not come across any issues. And if you are, most likely you're not doing something wrong, but maybe doing something that maybe could be fixed with a little better hand posture or something.
Gotcha.
Yeah, barrier time. Basically, there is a small seam that just happens to be where we can access on the barrier. And with a perfect position, angle, and bomb drop frame, we can just push right through it. That very simplifies it a lot. But basically, I'm trying to get damage or knockback cancel here, so that I can stand inside the knockback portion of the barrier, which is taking some time, unfortunately. There you go. Now I'm in this side, but there's still an invisible wall. Oops, actually, hold on. Hopefully, if that was good, my position is correct, and I'm gonna do a little bit of an angle setup here. It looks kind of weird, but basically, when you do a full 360 turn, your angle slightly changes, so I'm not just spinning in circles for nothing. I kind of forgot how many times I turned there, but hopefully, I think that's fine. We'll find out real quick. And now I'm gonna try to drop a bomb in a specific frame. And bam, I just cut through the barrier.
Wow, good job. Link really put his whole neck into that one.
Yeah, it looks hard, and it is often said that that trick is hard, I think, from like an outside perspective, but I think really, it's just one of those scary tricks that look daunting to learn, but once you learn it, it's relatively simple. And there are way easier setups to do than what I just did. There's a way more consistent setups. Who discovered this skip? So there are two ways to do it. Actor loading, which I alluded to a long time ago. I will not go into depth, but it was discovered by, I think, Dragonbane, I believe, and some help from Legend of Link. And then this method, the bomb push method, was discovered by research from a person called Trog and a person called Bowser's Board. And these were both found like 2019, 2020. So before this, 90% was like 4-ish hours.
Oh, whoa, that's like quite a time save.
Yeah, because you had to get here normally, which required getting the fully charged Master Sword, which required beating all dungeons. So before Barrier Skip, there was no all dungeons category. That was just 90%.
Very
now
cool.
There is all dungeons. I'm going to do a safe... So now there's a trial room here. Normally you have to do all the trials and like fight all the bosses over again, but that's slow, and we can't even do it anyways if we wanted to. So I'm going to do some parkour to skip the trials. Wait, my magic was not full. I wasn't paying super attention, but I'm pretty sure my magic was not full. I might have just wasted time for no reason, but I do not remember it. But I'd rather play it safe. Okay, yeah, my magic was definitely lower, so I think I made the right call there. I don't know how it was different than usual, but interesting. So yeah, you can climb on these posts And now I'm gonna go on this door frame. I'll fix my equips real quick because I'm used to something else. And then now I will do something called a bomb push, or a ledge clip with a bomb. Clip into the... Oh god, my camera's so messed up. I don't know why I did that. Oh god. And I can clip out of bounds and just go to the loading zone of the trial door that's supposed to unlock at the end of all the trials. If in chat, if they're asking why I was running back and forth from like the spot, I was just trying to get magic and then do all that stuff, but then I realized I didn't grab enough, so I had to run back again.
Okay.
I made a little bit of a silly mistake. I don't know. I wasn't really paying super attention to my magic. Usually I just autopilot that part, so I guess I just didn't realize. Usually you can do a trick called a ledge clip, or not a ledge clip, my bad, a roll clip on the right side of that room on a ledge below the door. That saves quite a bit of time, but it's frame perfect, and it's fine. It's not that bad. I just would prefer to do that because I think it's an easier strat to show off. It looks harder, and it has more components, but I think it's easier.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes you just kind of get in the habit of doing something and then you're not really thinking about, is it easier, is it harder? You're just kind of doing it because that's what you're used to.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's just what you're used to, what you're comfortable with. Even if it loses time. Like that loses I think 12 seconds, 15 seconds compared to optimal strats, but I don't really mind too much. I just like to get runs through.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you go like all out, sometimes it's easy to get your spirit broken by a speed run, so that's fair.
Okay, so there's an RNG attack you can do there. That was the fastest one, so that's good. Basically, this was the Phantom Ganon maze. Luckily, the order and the path you go is the same every time, so I wasn't just guessing. I knew where to go. And this is the light arrows. So, a lot of things here. This is an endgame item, we got it now. Pretty broken. This gives you also fire and ice arrows, because you're supposed to have them by now. Just nice. And also, because we have quiver from before, in combination with these light arrows, I now have an actual bow and arrow, which is nice, because we need that to beat the game. Well, in this category, you need it to beat the game.
Right.
You can beat the game without light arrows. So now you have to kill this guy, get his sword, and you can break that door. There are ways to skip, again, getting light arrows and skipping breaking this door. And I could do it for fun, but it loses time in this category. And I do need to get the light arrows anyways. So. Yeah, it actually, like all dungeons in 100% get light arrows fairly early on because of barrier skip early on. And it trivializes a lot of somewhat endgame fights because you just have light arrows you're not supposed to. You can you pretty much one-shot mini bosses. Because that's what it does to them. I did not mean to pick that up. Oopsies. So we're nearing the end of the game. 2 more boss fights. And one pretty heavily annoying RNG section. Basically, the TLDR is we need to get to a certain spot at the end of the next room that we need grappling hook for. We don't have grappling hooks, so we have to do a trick that's RNG and is a 1 1/3 chance of working. And if it doesn't work, we gotta do it again and again and again and again. And so hopefully it happens. There is a backup that I can opt to do that'll make it not RNG, but it loses like a minute. But hopefully that's not the case.
How many tries do you usually give it before you move on?
It depends on the pace I'm on, I think. Like if PB is possible with the backup, maybe I'll go for the backup.
Right, okay.
In a marathon or race setting, definitely would I in a race setting we had a tournament maybe a year ago where if you didn't get it first try, you just do the backup to hopefully not assuming that you wouldn't get it next time, just getting the RNG over with.
Right.
So yeah. But before I have to do that, I have to fight Puppet Ganon, which is pretty much just a boss where you have to snipe the tail. Usually you're supposed to break. Basically, it has a weak spot that's weak to light arrows, and it's on puppet strings. You have to knock them down and then shoot it on the ground. We don't have the boomerang to knock it down, so we just gotta snipe them. Which is kind of hard, but once you get used to it, honestly, it's easier than fighting the boss casually, because I swear when I accidentally break the ropes, I cannot hit it on the ground like you're supposed to. Literally impossible. So yeah, there's 3 phases, 3 shots each. Hopefully my snipes are good. If not, it's pretty easy to lose a lot of time here. And you can also die here, although that really shouldn't be a scare, ever. Yeah, phase 1 is the hardest, I would say, from like a speedrun perspective, because it's a lot harder to snipe those than the rest. So hopefully it goes well. I warmed up a little bit before this because yesterday I did a run and I lost like a minute here. Because I could not hit the tail.
You got this.
Yeah, hopefully. And even if I don't, still I'm pretty happy with this run so far. Barring that one Helm Rock swim troll I kind of did, been pretty good. Nice, that's a quick snipe you can do right there. Consistent. Nice. Okay, that was kind of a shot I had wishful thinking. There, that was a pretty good shot for first phase, I would say. Missed 1 shot. I am happy with that. And now, ideally, should be smooth sailing from here. Yo, what's up, Dean? That's cool.
Is it tough to line those shots up? Like, I didn't see any kind of, like...
You kind of just have to get used to the tail movement. The tail movement's consistent.
Right, okay.
It's the body movement that's inconsistent. So the body movement can be kind of annoying, but like you can kind of tail where you think the tail's gonna go, and then shoot there and hope that it hits.
Oh, okay.
So this one's a little bit easier. I'm gonna go for a 2-shot here. Hopefully I get it.
Thinking ahead.
Did not get it. I'm gonna go for one more time after. But you can hit the shot. You can hit the tail again in the sky, assuming you can shoot both at the right time. If not, I'll do an extra cycle. It's kind of unfortunate. Got it. Cool. And now the last phase, which is what I always thought was the hardest casually, but once you know how it works, it is really easy. You can do a lot of things to make it easier. Oh, okay. So now I don't have enough magic to miss again, so I'm going to play it a little bit safe and damage down as well. I need to damage down for something in a little bit. Oh, he tricked me. He looked like he was... Oh my god, he is hilarious. There you go. Cool. So
Slippery one.
Yeah, it's really annoying when it looks like he's gonna complete the circle, then does like a figure 8 instead.
Like the fake out.
Yeah, alright, so that's that. So this is the RNG section. So basically, there are 2 levels of platforms I have to climb. One of them, I can skip the grapple hook check. The other one, I can't. That requires me to shoot an enemy from below with a fire arrow through the floor to make it bounce toward the pot at the top. It's a warp pot and burn a lid. However, the way it bounces is RNG, and there's a 1 in 3rd chance that it works. So, hopefully it works. I have been getting really lucky in my practice. But if I don't, it's no big deal. But yeah.
Here we go.
So first things first, I'm going to climb this rope. You hold R and mash A, you can get a lot higher.
Remix.
I'm gonna play a little bit safe because I have no magic. Looked a little bit weird there, and if you mess up, you let go. And if you have leaf and magic, you can just leaf and then re-grab, but I have nothing, so I would fall all the way back to the bottom. And now I'm gonna do grapple skip, which is basically a little position set up to get through the floor here. There you go. Get magic. And now hope that this works. You'll hear something died up there. Didn't work. There's one more you can do though. Oh wow, okay, it worked. That is really lucky. Cannot believe.
Let's go.
So now I can take this warp hut. I can't believe I said this, but I'm kind of mad I did that funny swim now. I think again, I have no idea what pace I'm on, but
I'm not telling you.
I think it's pretty good. Oh man, that is really funny. So now, I will explain this trick more in depth when I'm in the later cutscene, because I'll have a lot of time to do that later. Basically, I need to get to the top of that ledge. Normally you need hook shot. I don't have hook shot, so I'm doing a hover, and I'm using this enemy to give myself a heart up there, because I need to heal somehow out of a zombie hover. You'll notice that last time I was gonna die if I didn't. I was gonna die after getting the leaf, but I save warped out. Same goes here. If I hit the floor at all, I would die. So I'm just trying to set this guy up a little. Okay, that's good enough. That's good enough. And now I brought a safety more. So I can kill this guy, get another heart, because this final boss does 1 heart of damage per attack, so if I were to get hit once, I would die.
All right, here we go.
Oh man, do I want? I don't think I want to look at the piss.
Don't look.
I'm not gonna look.
Final boss.
Okay, so basically, normally, you need to kill that enemy the more with the sword for it to drop a heart, and if you don't, it'll drop nothing. So I shot it with an arrow though, and you'd be asking, I shot it with an arrow. Why did it drop a heart? If you notice closely at the very start, I slashed the morph and killed it, but it also got stuck to me. And that put it in a weird pseudo state where it's dead, but it's not at the same time. But the next time you kill it with anything, it remembers that it was first killed by a sword. So no matter what you kill it with, it drops you a heart. So no, it does not always give you a heart back. You need to do that glitch to make sure that it thinks it was killed by a sword. Yeah. Final boss. There's like a 3-4 minute cutscene up here. And after that, like a 50-second fight. Pretty short. This final boss in any percent settings is kind of scary because you only, well, at least if you do no safety more, you can only take 1 hit. But it's pretty fast if you know what you're doing. But yeah, I think because the last cutscene is kind of a little bit ending remarks, I am actually very, very, very happy with how this run's gone so far. When you asked me to do this, I always play Wind Waker a little bit, no matter what, in the background. Like, I wasn't actively running it at the time, but I was definitely tinkering still, because I always tinker with this game. But I definitely wasn't in shape, so I spent the past couple days getting into shape, and I was doing okay. Like, I was getting runs I was fine with, but this run is way better than any of the runs I've had in all of my practice.
You've been rocking it. Thanks for taking another look at it for Time Capsule.
Yeah, it's been very fun. I mean, while I do have a love-hate relationship with this game at the end of the day, especially when it's been a little while since I've played it in like a speedrun setting, it is very fun to do. Because at least, well, I haven't been streaming that actively recently, but I've been doing Skyward Sword recently. That's like the game I have been doing, and before that was Twilight Princess. I basically stick to 3D Zeldas. But it's been a while since I've done Wind Waker, but it is my best game, so it's not easy, but it's like, it doesn't take a lot of time for me to get back into shape.
Yeah, it's like, riding a bike or whatever.
Yeah.
You just have to get back into it and the muscle memory will kick back in.
Yeah, for sure. But the other games like Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword, I suck at them if I don't play them for a while. This game though, like, I have put so much time into it to where very, very easy to get my bearings with.
Yeah, well, it definitely shows. Like, this has been an incredible showcase of the game.
Yeah, I haven't made a single mistake other than purposely doing something for fun. I guess my puppet game. I mean, my puppet game is pretty good too, actually. Oh man, yeah, this is quite good. I guess there were some moments where it took me a while to get storage, I guess. Very easy to lose time with storage. Yeah, the fight's about to start. So basically there's 3 phases of this fight. In the 3rd phase, I do a final attack where I stab Ganondorf in the head. In the moment where Ganondorf is stabbed in the head, that is time. So about a minute from now.
All right.
Yeah, basically 3 phases. The first 2 phases are just doing enough damage to progress to the next phase, and then the last phase is just 1 hit. So phase 1. Okay, I do not like this. This is not gonna hit. That's fine. A little bit of a flop, but I can just back it up. I don't like this. Oh god. Okay, that was a little sloppy. I lost like 10 seconds there, but a little scary. I kind of messed up the consistency. Come on, get over here. This is phase 2. And this is phase 3, so I'm going to reflect the arrow off of my shield and then attack Ganondorf, and that'll be the end. And time.
GG.
Oh, okay. I wasn't close to PB. I thought that was a lot better than it was.
You were getting me riled up. I was like, what's going on? What's gonna happen?
Yeah, my PB is a 1:14.59.
Hey, but that's really close, and especially in a marathon type setting, like you rocked it. That was awesome.
Was pretty good. I'd have to look back, see exactly where I lost all the time. If I had to guess, I lost like over a minute in Home Rock.
EJ, do you think that you're gonna kind of keep grinding this out a little bit, or you're not sure?
Yo, what's up, Andy? Thanks for the use. My grind was pretty much the sub 115, although that was before the hole-in-one quiver strat.
Ah, true.
So I definitely, and I also lost like a minute on that segment in PB, so there is a lot of room for improvement.
I mean, yeah, just take it at your own pace.
I think I don't like switching games when I have like a goal in mind. So right now that goal is like Skyward Sword. I want to get a certain time to 90%. So that's kind of what I'm majorly doing right now. However, this category is a fun thing to do when I just want to like relax. So definitely, I won't commit to a grind, but I will definitely
a few runs.
I'm definitely down to do a few runs here and there, or races. We do some races sometimes.
Awesome. Well, EJ, do you have any like shout outs or comments that you want to leave our viewers with?
Let's see. Well, first of all, shout out to the Wind Waker community, of course.
Of course.
None of this would be possible without the collective effort. Specific people who have been like the main person I think who inspired me is probably Demon. For those, I think Zelda speedrunners know who Demon is. He's a pretty good Zelda runner. But yeah, just shout out to the community, and shout out to GDQ for giving me this opportunity, and thank you, Tippy, for giving me the opportunity to show off this run.
Of course.
This run was actually recently shown at GDQX by the world record holder, and he did pretty good as well. But it's always nice to show it off more, because again, I think nothing between the 2 runs changed except for the setup I did for the quiver swim. Those were literally found like yesterday. So
That's
I had
so
to,
wild to me. Like, wow, and implementing it in the run today, like that's cool. You went for it.
I was a little nervous about that, but honestly, they're a little. To be honest, they're better than the old setups. So,
Well, and sometimes that's what it's all about, trying new things and having fun. So we definitely appreciate you being here and de-rusting the game, if you will. So thank you, EJ. And I will say to all of you in chat, if you had fun watching the Wind Waker run, make sure you follow EJ125 here on Twitch. That is pinned by Richard. Thank you, Richard. And yeah, that is actually going to wrap up our episode of Time Capsule tonight. So if you are watching this on YouTube from the future and you had a good time with us, be sure to press the like button on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, if you're interested in catching our shows live, you can always find us at twitch.tv/gamesdonequick. I have been your host, Smooth Operative. Thank you all very much for watching. You can tune into Hotfix tomorrow for Mercy Kill, followed by Passion Project, all starting at 7 p.m. Eastern. Again, EJ, thank you so much for being here. I had a blast. I hope everyone did too. So have a beautiful day or night, my friends, wherever you are in the world, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.